Okay, so I wanted to do this video basically on Karen Truth. Her video, I posted it, I shared it a few days ago, but she was talking about how dark-skinned black people, dark-skinned black women will complain about biracial women taking their image. And I thought it was interesting because, thinking about, how she was talking about she felt that biracial and multiracial women had taken the image of, you know, light skinned black women, and I really feel like everybody wishes, and I've said this before, everybody wishes that that image didn't really exist. No one really wants to think of a black woman being actually light skinned. That's why, honestly, the image of basically biracial women is pushed more so because people don't really like the idea of just black with lighter skin. And you'll see plenty of places who claim they're like pro light skinned black women, or light skin actually, not light skinned black women, but light skin, so called. They will try to basically claim that light skinned black women don't exist, light skinned black men don't exist. They want to basically try to say that light skin is just mixed. And I think that Karen really did bring up a really good point in the idea of, you know, biracials not really being light skinned. I would say that I do think that biracials are light skinned in regard to each other sometimes. Like, for example, Chantel Jeffries is much lighter than Halle Berry. I would consider Chantel Jeffries light skinned compared to mixed race women. Um, if you compare Halsey to many mixed race people, you would get a light skinned mixed person. If you compared Logic to most mixed people, you would say he was a light skinned person, basically. But putting them in the same category as light skinned black people, you see, this is what has occurred in many sectors where they call it the, golden sphere and so forth. And they have like a lot of biracials. And the light skinned black people sometimes try and scurry over there. And they realize they're not really uplifted nor are embraced unless they are mixed, or unless they try to lie about being mixed, basically, or try and basically fit in for that. If you're truthful, you're not going to be acceptable. That's a major thing in our media and in society. I feel like that's normal. To fit the light skin image, you have to be mixed. And, it's a very unhealthy position for people who are light skinned, because light skinned black people are still black people. So, personally, to me, I just kind of think that, as far as the whole issue of colorism that she brought up, I kind of felt like she was right that the image of light skinned black people is really not embraced. But I also think that brown skinned black women are not really embraced either, because sometimes you will see brown skinned black people, say like Beyonce, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, just to name a few. You see a lot of different brown skinned black women, but many of the time it's like they're pushed into looking as mixed as they possibly can. Different hair textures that they wear. Many of the time you won't see them with a natural 4C or 4 hair type that often. You won't usually see them. You'll see a lot of blonde hair. You know, with all three of those individuals, you can see a lot of blonde hair in their hair. Um, a lot of different things like, different contouring, some people wearing contacts, different things, in their features to look as mixed as they can possibly look. And you see a lot of brown skinned people, even mixed people who are brown skinned, you can see this happen more. But I will say, among brown skinned black people, that often the ideal image of a brown skinned black woman is still someone who most likely is multiracial. You know, it happens that way both with light skinned and brown skinned black people. I would say though that brown skinned black people get a lot more flack for the fact that that is our pushed image basically than light skinned black people. Light skinned black people are kind of like seen as that's their identity, that's who they are. While brown skinned black people, it's kind of like some of us are kind of like seen that way, and then others of us may have the same skin tone, but we have different features. At the same time, many brown skinned people who have the other Afrocentric features will often be shamed for those specific features, you know. So to me, I don't know, I just related a lot with what she had to say in her video. The only thing I didn't agree with was the whole idea of mixed race in some regard. I do think that Black Americans do have mixed ancestry. So, like, for example, she was saying Rosa Parks was um, mixed, but I mean, you can see mixture in Black Americans sometimes because, well, there is mixture in Black Americans. We have about 20%, 22, 24% European ancestry on average, so that's a norm, and so that's what you're going to see sometimes. Um, Africans, though, they have a different view of being mixed race, and so I respect that, and I mean, like, if you're full African, you will see things probably differently than someone who is mixed with some non-African ancestry, even if you're just a Black American, for that matter. So, yeah, but other than that, I generally agree with everything she was saying in that video. It was a really good video, but I just kind of feel like, why doesn't anyone ever want to address this, And I feel like, honestly, I think a lot of light skinned black people and even brown skinned black people do not want to talk about it because they feel like this is the one good side to light skin or to brown skin, and that's the face of someone who is multiracial. So then they basically want to be quiet about the Afrocentric features they have because it's their negative side. So they want to show people their good side rather than their bad side, kind of thing. That's how they basically, I think, see it. So then that's why they put forth the mixed race phenotype and the mixed race people instead of the actual light skinned black people. And the light skinned black people and the, brown skinned black people, many of them, I think, you won't notice that only in their natural state that you'll see that they actually look black. In their unnatural state, with the hair, the makeup, and everything, and many people have plastic surgery too. Say, for example, I believe, well, there's a couple people who have had plastic surgery. I don't like to make assumptions unless I'm sure they've talked about it, so I'm not going to say that. But my point is, a lot of people, don't really pay attention to the fact that a lot of light skinned and, brown skinned black people, I think, have a worse situation when it comes to representation because I feel like dark skinned black people are able to see the good side and the beauty in their blackness. But you don't really get to see the beauty in light skinned black people's blackness because it's always represented by someone who has less Afrocentric features. You know, that's the same with brown skinned black women, and to me, it's just kind of like, I think that honestly, it's kind of like hard, I think, on black people who aren't dark skinned because how are they supposed to embrace their true blackness when no one even acts like it even exists? Some people even claim that there's no such thing as blackness outside of dark skinned black people, you know? And when it's like that, then it really alienates people because it's like people are saying that you as yourself do not exist, you know. No one's saying that dark skinned black women, they as themselves do not exist, you know. No one does that. People understand that dark skinned black women have the features they have. No one tells dark skinned black women, why is your hair so tight? Why is your nose so broad? Shouldn't you have a narrower nose? Shouldn't you have softer hair? Shouldn't you have thinner lips? No one says any of those things, to a dark skinned black person because they think that that all goes together well. But with lighter skinned women, it's kind of like people will ask those questions, especially on the hair type. If you have 4A, 4B, or 4C hair, especially 4C hair, people often will ask, why you have the hair you have with the skin tone you have, as if you're a mismatch, like you chose wrong, like anyone chooses what their hair texture is for that matter, you know. But yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of the time light skinned and lighter skinned women have a hard time just being black in peace because both sides kind of like don't understand their blackness. And I think honestly don't like their blackness because of its connectivity to one biracials who want to have distance from blackness do not want light skinned black people to exist because then they have the same skin tone as them. And dark skinned black people have an issue with it because they feel like that's something that they have to compare to, as if being dark skinned is wrong or something. But yeah, it is a hard place to be in, and I totally understood what she was talking about with representation. So